But there is a serious thing, which is Starmer using that language is now dangerous. There's no doubt about it. See, we've seen Diane Abbott saying she wants to give reform a kicking, and all this kind of thing. The left, you'll watch what they'll do. They'll gradually take the language of the American left. They're like, ooh, terrorism. We can use stochastic terrorism. That looks fun. This is what they'll do. They'll start more and more to use these terms and hoping that people attack Farage. He's already been attacked with milkshake and cement. Make it difficult for him, intimidate him. This is what they do because they have no arguments. They know Farage is winning. So this is all they've got. And I think they'll do this more and more, knowing full well. I mean, there was a guy today tweeting, when the reform becomes such snowflakes. I'm like, precisely 3 weeks ago when a bloke got murdered for this.
Yeah, I saw that tweet.
Well, I mean...
And also they changed the rules of engagement. For many, many years, the right tried to engage without this type of oppressor versus the oppressed, victimhood type politics. But the rules changed. The left pushed it so hard that that's the rules of engagement now. Okay, so essentially, the right have gone, look, let's play by your rules then, because this is a huge contradiction, and it's an important step to take. You can only ignore it for so long. So, and here's the thing: Nigel Farage has had to step up his security hugely. He's now got pretty significant security, I'm sure, and it's well paid for by reform and other things. But let me tell you, there's people walking, the streets of the area I live in, or close to where I live, and all around the country that are campaigners for reform. Well-meaning people trying to drum up interest in a political party because they think it's going to help the people of their community. Those people are very much at risk now.
Yeah.
Because those are the people that are going to encounter the absolute lunatics that are inspired by this rhetoric.
Yeah, and how can it be good for a country when the party that's polling in front to be the main party in the country, and you're calling them racist, essentially, or the policy racist, or just him or not him? It's all nonsense. So, but yes, the serious thing is, how can the main party, you see how lopsided and insane our politics is, and it is like this, as we know, but the main party is racist. It's like, okay, well, then at that point, it almost becomes meaningless. It does become meaningless, but it's like, okay, so then England's racist. Cool. Glad we've agreed that. Britain's racist, England's racist, particularly. So it's like, okay, fine. But then it becomes meaningless because you define the whole country as that. And we know this, that you define the whole country as far right. It becomes equally meaningless. But Farage seemed genuinely annoyed, and he seemed more defiant to me as a result of it. And, all that stuff about he thought Starmer was a decent man. We saw the pictures of him chatting to him in the House of Commons. And it does all feel like Starmer is the opposition and Farage is the real prime minister. Well, and think about the conference. They reference reform constantly. We can talk about how the Tories were nowhere, by the way, but they referenced reform constantly, and they felt like they were just giving advertising to Farage, and they were the spiky opposition trying to say anything, right? Whereas he's the real prime minister in waiting.
Yeah, there's so much going on. I mean, tweeted yesterday in the morning, way before the speech, saying today is Keir Starmer's Labour conference keynote speech, and in a week's time will be the apology. And do you know what? Lammy and Keir Starmer have already started a sort of lukewarm row back today, and they have to. However, in the interview that Keir Starmer gave, he said that he doesn't think that demonising Nigel Farage is putting his safety at risk. That's nonsense. We don't need to prove why. We already know it. Nobody wanted to see anyone, David Amos or Joe Cox, both inspired. Both killers of those people were inspired by this type of rhetoric to go and attack people. One was an Islamist, and one was essentially a right-wing guy, I believe. And do you know what? No one wants to see any of that.
Well, the Islamist guy is not inspired by the rhetoric; he's inspired by his ideology.
Well, he's inspired by the ideology. But do you know what? You don't have to look far, do you? You can look at the Green Party and the Labour Party, who are very sympathetic to the Islamists. The reason they're sympathetic to the Islamists is because they want them on board, because they see them as their voters. So they don't sort of distance themselves enough. And even if they do distance themselves, they still demonize. And I mean that in a literal sense. They have turned Nigel Farage into the devil incarnate. He is now the devil on earth in physical human form. And if you let him continue, it will be a huge problem for you. And yesterday, to compound it all, I think the worst thing that Keir Starmer called him was the enemy. Not.
We'll get on to that as well.
Okay.
I'd love
I'll
to see Farage as the devil going, a lot of people say you shouldn't give me your soul, but if you think about it, I think you'll find it's absolutely the best idea.
A slight wheeze because of the fags as well.
Yeah, then a weird laugh like that.